Hello, amazing parents and caretakers, and welcome to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm your family empowerment coach, Celia Kibler. I'm a mom of a blended family of 5 kids. I'm a grandma of 9 kids, an author, a teacher, a speaker, and a consultant with over 40 years of training and real-life parenting experience. I'm here to offer you practical, doable tips, strategies, and techniques that will pump up your parenting skills and create peace, love, and laughter throughout your family. In addition, I'll be interviewing some great humans that are on a mission to make your life a better, happier, and healthier life. So let's not waste any time and get started with the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Thanks for listening. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Celia Kibler. I'm super excited to talk about family photos today because we have too many, or we have so many. And I know I have tons. So what do you do with all of them? You know, we're not in the world of when I was like growing up and you actually took pictures, got them developed, and then you came home and you had so many photos, a book, a development of 12 or 24, and you put them into an album. And it was not these trillions of photos that we have now on our phones where we go to an event and we take one picture 5,000 times. So what do we do with them all? What do we, is there a way to organize them? How do we decide which ones to delete? I don't know about you, but I just have too many to even think about, so I don't think about them. My daughter puts them into little books. Love that idea. So today we're going to talk to Angela Andrew, and we're going to talk about what to do about them and an app that she has created to help you manage all these photos and these videos and everything that's recorded in your life. So, Angela, welcome. Thank you for being here at the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Celia. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh,
And I
I'm
just want to
excited to have
clarify
you. Go
that
ahead.
I didn't create the Mylio Photos app, but I do teach people how to use it. I wish I could take credit for creating it. It's an amazing product, but I didn't create it. We have
Okay,
some
but
amazing engineers who do that kind of stuff.
you're an expert at it.
Something like that, yes.
Good. So, because, like whenever I use apps and things, I need an expert because I don't, necessarily know what's going on. And you get confused and you get overwhelmed and you're like, done with that. So, and my app, I'm not sure when you guys will hear this, but my app will either be out or it will be about to be released for all you parents. So get ready because it's going to be an amazing app, on-demand parenting advice. Just like if you were on the phone with me, you will be on the app with me, and I will give you, through Stella, all the advice you need to have a successful solution to whatever's going on in your life at that minute, right then and there. Don't have to research, nothing. Get your answers right there. So apps can be a really great tool. So first, let me tell you who Angela is, because I did not tell you that. She is a fine art photographer, photography coach, and a product evangelist for Mylio Photos. So she's just the voice outside of the app. And Mylio Photos is an app. So, Angela, would you tell our guests how you got into this, how you got connected to Mylio, and why you think it's such a great tool for everyone?
Absolutely. So my background, as you said, is in photography. I've been a photographer for many, many years. I love to do travel and cityscape and landscape photos, basically just cataloging the beauty I see in the world around me. That led me into photography coaching, where I help other photographers learn how to use creative post-processing applications. I help them organize their libraries, keep things backed up, basically help them develop a workflow in getting their stuff together so they can actually just enjoy the process of photography. All of that led me into working with Mylio Photos because I love helping people get organized and do those kinds of things. And Mylio is a really, really amazing tool for that. So what Mylio Photos is it's a cross-platform application. You can use it on Mac, Windows, iOS, and Android, or any combination of those. You get all of your media put into one place. It has tools to help you keep things backed up so you're protected, make sure you don't lose any of those important memories, and it helps you get them organized. It's also available to sync across your devices with or without the cloud. So if somebody's very privacy minded, they don't have to use cloud storage. Your devices can talk directly to each other. And like I said, you can have an iPhone and a Windows computer and an Android tablet that all share your photo library. And I think that's really powerful and exciting. There's also family plans, so you can have everyone in your family working together on a family library. So you can have, two parents and a couple of kids and maybe grandparents that all share and either can contribute or view, depending on what permissions you want to set up, this media so everybody has access to the things they're supposed to have access to.
Well, it sounds very cool. And I have a few questions that popped up while you were talking about that. And one of them is, do your photos or are your photos able to download directly into Mylio? So right now, everybody takes a picture, it lands up on their cell phone, and then you have 9 million pictures taking up storage on your cell phone. So is it able to download directly into the app so it's not taking up storage on your phone?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, yes, I think what you're asking is ways to save space on your phone. Mylio can certainly do that. So with Mylio Photos, kind of an ideal setup would be to have a computer with an external hard drive that you have connected at your house. And Mylio can then bring in your pictures and it stores and puts them all into that one place, which can be that external hard drive. And you can connect multiple hard drives if you want to have replication and backup because hard drives can fail. But that's where your pictures go. And we call that a vault. So this external hard drive that holds your whole library, we call it a vault. And we recommend having at least two of those. So when you take a picture on your phone, you open up the Mylio Photos application on your phone, Mylio then becomes aware of that picture. And as soon as it can talk to your computer, it will take that picture and make a copy of it to that hard drive. So it does take those pictures. And then there's tools within Mylio to help you clean up your camera roll, free up that space. And what it puts back on your phone, because you can still view your entire library on your phone, are space managed smaller sized files. We call them optimized files or thumbnails that take up 1 to 5% the size of your original. So you still have access to everything, but you're viewing a smaller size. And as long as you have access to that vault at home, you can pull down a full resolution file on demand if you want to.
Wow. Um, yeah, I think having access to it's important. So you can go into Mylio and like bring up a photo that you took the other day that you no longer have on your phone with
Correct.
ease.
And then that works also with stuff like I've got pictures, digital photos that I captured back all the way to, I think I got my first digital camera in 2002, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. So that's how far back my digital photos go. Then if you have all of those film photos from before that, you can scan those and you can digitize them, pull those into your Mylio Photos library. So I can actually go back. I have pictures in my library that go back to the early 1900s that are my family's photos that I have
Wow.
digitized and put into my library. So Mylio can be not only about your present pictures and dealing with those, and it's a great tool for that, but for somebody who's also wanting to preserve a legacy, you can pull in all of those extra pictures.
Wow. That's incredible. And Mylio, Mylio.com is where you download Mylio.
Correct.
So Mylio.com, Mylio.com. That's where you go because I know you're all thinking, where do I find it? So while you're listening, download it now. And then, so my next question is, how secure are these photos? So you have all these photos in Mylio, you have all these kid photos, all these, family photos. How secure is that vault that you speak about?
That's an excellent question. So it's as secure as you have things on your desk. So if your home is secure, things on your desk are secure. So we focus on local storage, meaning storage that you have and that you control. Your devices talk directly to each other. Mylio never sees your pictures. Even the AI tools we have built into the software run locally on your machine. and we're not training anything off of your picture. So all of that is very secure. If you choose to integrate in cloud storage, which some people really like because it makes things more accessible, it gives you an offsite backup so that you have that disaster recovery. So if something tragic happens at your home and everything on your desk is gone, you have that offsite copy. Mylio allows you to encrypt those storage. So anything that you put up into the cloud, whoever's storing it, be it our storage or be it Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, any S3 cloud service that you want to use, you can encrypt it so those services can't read and decrypt your pictures. So they can't data mine off of it. They can't use it for AI training. They can't see what you're storing.
Wow.
So we think that's very important. Privacy is supreme. And also another thing that we prioritize is your stuff is yours. So if you decide to use Mylio Photos, I mentioned that hard drive, that vault. It is just, you open it up, it's the file system. You're going to see your folders in there, exactly what you're seeing in Mylio. So if at some point Mylio is not the right choice for you anymore, all of your stuff is there in that drive in the file system. Nothing is locked behind a proprietary door, proprietary files. It's your, all of your stuff is yours.
That's awesome. All right, and with those photos, does Mylio offer editing, categorizing? Like, can you put them like you have a gazillion photos that go back decades and decades?
Yes.
How are you organizing all these? How do you know what's there?
So let's go ahead and start from when you're importing media into Mylio Photos. We start with what's called dynamic indexing, which takes a look at your pictures. It looks at all of the metadata that's already embedded there. So we're talking about your file names, the date that it was taken. If you had this picture in another program, maybe you added a title or a caption, something like that. Mylio reads all of that. It also has AI object recognition that I mentioned runs locally on your computer or on your phone, and it recognizes over 1,000 different objects and visual properties. So even if you haven't taken the time to physically add keywords to something, a lot of times you can still find that search. You can also, it has optical character recognition, so it reads text and photos. So if you took a picture of a street sign and you're like, okay, I remember it was on, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an interesting street, on Carlton Oaks Street, and you type in Carlton Oaks, and that should come up as long as it's legible in the picture, even if you never had it in the, it wasn't in the file name, it wasn't in the keywords, anything like that, because it can read the text in the pictures. It also has, I think, some of the best AI facial recognition out there for this type of product. So it's when you're bringing those pictures in, it's also looking for recognizable faces. And you can then go in and name those faces. Once you've named somebody 5 to 10 times, it starts to know who that person is and groups them together so you can easily batch tag them. So you have those things right as you're just bringing things into Mylio. Once you've got things in, you can change, you can add, captions and descriptions. You can add keywords. We also have some other tools. We have categories which are unique to Mylio. You can make albums, which are digital collection or virtual collections rather. So you're not duplicating or moving anything else around on your hard drive, but you can make all different kinds of groupings of things that you want. Um, we have different views within the software that kind of, I think, automatically organize things for you. So if you can start from like the all photos view, which is like your camera roll, it's that kind of infinite scroll experience. You can switch over to what we call the life calendar, which takes all of those pictures based on the dates and puts them onto this beautiful calendar. And then you can scroll your life in pictures.
Hmm.
The next one over is the map view. So if there's GPS information, like most of our modern mobile phones put GPS information into our pictures, maybe you're someone who likes to remember things based on where they happen. You go to the map, search on the map. There's a pin with all the pictures, pop it up. You've now found those photos based on where they were taken.
Hmm.
Next view over is our people view. And so all of those people you've tagged, you can click on their collection. You can see all the pictures you have of that person. And then we also have albums. Like I said, those are virtual containers that you can group things however you like. I do them for my different camera club competitions that I do. I do them for anything mundane like remodeling and refinishing projects around my home. I'll have my befores and afters that I group in there. You can put as many things in your. I've got slideshows for birthdays and anniversaries, my husband's military retirement, all sorts of things. Different groupings of whatever you need or want can be done in an album. And then you get to your folders view, which is where you see the actual folders where your pictures live. And you can move things around in the folders as well. And that will be reflected on your hard drive. So the things that you do in Mylio are also saved to your hard drive. Any metadata changes you make are saved in an industry standard format. So other applications can read those changes too. And that information that you do is preserved. So all of those organization things that you take the steps to do, it's set up for longevity.
Wow. Hi, this is Celia, your host and family and relationship empowerment coach, and mom and grandma, here to take a break from this podcast to give you a special opportunity. As parents, we all have those moments. The pressure builds up, the noise gets too much, and before we know it, we're raising our voices higher than we ever intended. But what if there was a better way? Introducing 21 Days to Stop Yelling at Your Kids, a revolutionary program designed to help you communicate with your children without yelling. Imagine a home filled with understanding and respect, where your words have impact without the need to raise your voice. Created through my over 40 years of experience, this course offers you practical, easy to implement strategies that work in real life. You'll learn through interactive lessons, engaging exercises, and a supportive community. No judgments, just guidance. Because being a parent doesn't have to mean you're perfect. It's about growing and it's about becoming intentional. In just 21 days, life will be calmer and more harmonious. What if you don't get the course? Where will you be in 21 days? Still feeling like a bad parent? I encourage you to join the millions of parents that I have helped who have found a new path to communication and connection. Visit quityelling.com to enroll in the 21 Days to Stop Yelling course today. And for our podcast listeners, use the code PODCAST for a 60% discount. Quityelling.com, because love speaks so much louder than yelling. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. It's incredible. So it makes me feel like I want to go to Mylio after this and download the app. And then do I just say, take all my stuff that's on my phone and stick it in Mylio?
So the way that it works is you're going to go to mylio.com and you have two options. You can either book a demo, so you can get a one-on-one demo. Somebody will talk to you about what your situation is, what your goals are with your pictures, your other media, and make some suggestions. Or you can purchase right away. So you can go through the demo first, totally up to you. And then you can make your purchase. From that point, you actually get connected with one of our experts for a one-on-one session, and they will help you install the software and get your first import into the software. That kind of helps you get like a good groundwork for using Mylio Photos because it is so powerful. It can also be a little bit complex. So we offer this one-on-one experience to make that, adaptation a little bit easier. From there, we've got a ton of different education. We have live events, different places you can go to learn more, get help. We have an amazing support team should anything technical be, you have questions about that. And we really do our best to make sure people have the tools that they need to be successful.
I love it. I love it. So the app costs something.
Yes.
And do you have any kind of coupon code or anything that people can use, or it just goes directly to the app?
So for now, we can probably get something together after our show here, and maybe we can have that added to the show notes. I don't have anything handy right now, but we'll see what we can do for you.
Okay.
But to give people an idea of what it costs, it starts out at about $20 a month, and that's for an individual user. If you want to have a family plan, I believe it's around $40 a month. And that gets you up to 5 people who can share your account. So all of that, like I said, comes with that one-on-one help to get started, to get that first import done, and to get you acquainted with what Mylio Photos can do. And then we provide a ton of other additional resources, from written documentation to videos on demand to live sessions that you can jump into and ask questions.
And the one-on-one advice, is that included in the price?
The one-on-one, that initial one is
Right.
absolutely.
Oh, very
Yep.
cool. Very cool. Okay, so guys, when you're listening to this, check the show notes because there may be a special little coupon code just for you. Um, so this just sounds like so great and it sounds reasonable. I mean, you're considering it's like gazillions and zillions of photos that you're putting into there. Is there a limit to storage? Do you like you start at one point and then you're able to increase if you have too much stuff, basically?
So here's where it's really cool. Mylio, since it's focused on local storage, you're using, say, your own hard drive that sits there next to your computer. The only limitation is your own storage space. If
Oh,
you
okay.
need more space, you go out and buy a bigger hard drive and you carry on smartly. There's no additional charge from us. Similarly, with the number of devices that you want to connect to your account, there's no limit. So if you have two computers, a tablet, and a phone, or maybe even a couple of tablets, whatever, you have a bunch of stuff, you can all have them on the same account. And again, that doesn't cost you anything additional for the individual user. Once you start adding on other users into your account, there is a cost for that. That's when it jumps up to that family plan. We also have team plans if somebody's looking at using this for their small business. That's something we can accommodate as well.
So, well, that makes it more secure too, because being stored on your equipment, not Mylio's cloud space.
Exactly. And
Awesome.
for anybody who's interested, our cloud service, we use Backblaze, which is one of the top cloud storage providers out there. They're incredibly secure. They're incredibly reliable. I've personally been a customer of theirs long before I worked for Mylio. I highly recommend them as a separate service, but that's who hosts our cloud storage. And like I said earlier, when you use cloud storage with Mylio, you have the option to encrypt it. So even that cloud storage isn't going to be able to see your files.
So it just sounds like a great app. I'm so glad, you came on here to bring it to the attention of our listeners. So I can imagine someone's listening right now, like me, and they have like a ton of stuff, and they're like, okay, where do I begin? Where do I even start? I've got stuff here. I've got stuff on this phone, on that phone, on this place, and this place. Where does one even begin?
Well, regardless if you're using Mylio Photos or you're wanting to just get organized in general, I would start by making a list of where you have your photos. So make a list of your devices where some of that stuff might be stored. So you've got your phones, your computers, any external hard drives you have laying around, memory cards, things like that. If you later want to include in scanned media, if you have stuff that you need to get digitized, that's another step in the process, but you can also add that to your notes if that's something that you want to tackle. And we have resources to connect that we can connect you to help with that as well. But start by making a list of where your stuff is. Once you get started with Mylio Photos, like I said, that expert that you connect with at the beginning will help you get that first import done. And then you can start going down that list and adding in more media. All of that will then get consolidated onto your Vault drive, that external drive that you connect. And you can also add a second vault to make sure you have replication because if one hard drive dies, you have another one. That's always just good practice. So I recommend having at least two vaults for every user. Um, from there, you can go and start with the face tagging. Once pictures are in Mylio, the face tagging is super fun. You go into there's a section in the people view called untagged, and that's just going to be a long list of the individuals. So tag a few people there, then you can jump into our batch tagging tool. So once you've set tag somebody 5 to 10 times, starts to get smart, groups similar faces together, and then you can start moving really quickly through your library and tagging all of those important people in your life. For me, it's been a little bit of a challenge and kind of a game to get that untagged folder, or not really a folder, collection down to zero. I've never quite done it because I keep taking pictures. So, but I can always go in there and make sure that the people that are important to me are tagged so I can find their pictures later. And I can't tell you, even just that alone can take such a weight off of people because there are events that come up, both happy and sad, where you need very quickly to pull
Pictures.
together photos of an individual. So this could be, somebody's 50th wedding anniversary and you want to pull up all the pictures of them, or, your kid's birthday, they're turning 18 and you want to have pictures and a slideshow of them over the years. Being able to grab all of those pictures in one place is just so incredibly powerful and helpful that I don't know how I ever lived without that kind of functionality.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it sounds like that once you've reached so many tags
Mhm.
that when a new photo gets presented and Mylio recognizes it, I'm assuming if it recognizes a face, it then tags it. Is that
Well,
correct
it'll put it
or
into
not?
a proposed category. So it'll
Oh,
pop up
okay.
with like a little question mark on that person. And so you'll know there's some proposed faces in there. Mylio still wants you to confirm because, as with anything AI, it's not 100%. It usually works on a spectrum of, how confident it is. Like, it gives a score of confidence to everything that it does anything AI with. So some of them are more confident that it's this person, some of them are less confident. So you do want to go ahead and put your eyes on it and say, yes, it's this person before it writes that to metadata.
Got it. Got it. So so much great value here. I just like, you don't even realize, and I'm sure you don't even realize it until you start using it, and then you're like, what was I thinking? I could have
Yeah.
been doing this all along. What is something that you would tell our listeners that will really help them kind of get started with this, think about how important this is, and how it can really become of value to them in their life?
So what I would tell people is a statistic that I recently saw is for people who are using their phones primarily to take their pictures and hold those pictures, only 1 out of 4 people is paying for additional cloud storage to whoever their provider is, whether that's Google Photos, iCloud, whatever, which means that most people are making an assumption that their stuff is backed up using the free storage that's available. But unfortunately, most people take more pictures and have more stored on their phone than can be held in that free storage. So there's probably, for 75% of the people out there, a lot of pictures that are very precious to them that are on their phone, that if their phone got lost, stolen, dropped in the lake, you name it, those pictures are gone forever. And that is really like, that's a heartbreaking thought to me. I don't want anybody to lose those precious moments because, as a photographer, especially, I know how precious and irreplaceable those snapshots in time are. So I would encourage people, whether they're looking at something like Mylio Photos, or even if it's just like considering paying for some additional iCloud storage, take a look at how much free storage comes with your phone and how much you have actually on your phone, and see if those numbers line up. Make sure your stuff is getting backed up and protected because I don't want anybody to lose their stuff. The second thing I would consider is think about backups, not just that one cloud storage, but I recommend for people to use the 3-2-1 backup scenario. So this is something that you'll hear from a lot of software people, especially those in data management, is you want to have at least 3 copies of your media on at least 2 different types of storage with at least one of them offsite. So that means like those 2 hard drives you have connected to your computer at home, replicated one over the other, those vaults with Mylio, and then an offsite. You can have that be a family member's house or cloud storage, or there's lots of options if you don't want to use cloud. But think about that because that is, your hard drive fails, your computer fails, you have a copy here at home. That's easy to get back up and running. Something horrible happens at home, you have that offsite copy to where you never lose your stuff. So that's kind of what I would ask people to think about. Just what would happen if you lost your phone? And how can you mitigate that? Now, as far as getting started, make that list of where your stuff lives and realize that this is not an overnight process. Give yourself some grace and start chipping away at it a little by little. And you're going to be farther ahead than you were last week or last month. And eventually you will get to a point where you're confident that stuff is organized. But organization is a process. And as we continue to take more pictures, there's always going to be more stuff. So it's about the journey, not the destination.
Such great advice, really great advice. And 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 if you guys have never like looked into the price of external hard drives, they're crazy reasonable. Like
Yes.
the amount of terabytes, like, a whole kingdom of terabytes. Imagine a kingdom of dinosaurs. They're all like for nothing. I mean, for really minimal investment, you can get like 5 terabytes. I don't even know how high it goes,
I think
but
they go
that's
to
a
like
lot of storage.
you can get up to like
So
20 these days, I think.
that's not even a huge investment. And if it is a big investment, then guess what? Ask for it as a gift. Birthday's coming up, Mother's Day is coming up, Father's Day is coming up. Say, you know what I really need? I need some a hard drive storage. And that's actually a reasonable gift price-wise to get somebody. So
Absolutely.
think of it that way. This has just been like so valuable. And I will tell you, as an old person, there is a lot of stuff that goes away that you think, oh my gosh, now I've lost this laptop. I can't even access this hard drive. I can't access this laptop. I can't access this phone, this desktop. And what's on those things? Older pictures, older pictures of your people younger, your children little, all these pictures that you can't recreate, that you can't make again because now on that phone or on that laptop, they were 2 and 1 and infants and 4, and now they're 18 and 19. You can't make them little again. So while you can access these things, back them up because I can't even tell you how many devices I have in my home that I can't access. So, forget about the cell phone. Well, even when I had like the original cell phones, you couldn't take pictures, so that was okay. But, you know, it's just you'll be sorry if you don't, because you're thinking about it right now and you're like, should I do it? Should I, this is going to cost me $20 a month? Blah, 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 blah. And then something's going to go and disappear. And you're going to be like, what was I thinking? Well, these are the things you don't get back in life.
Exactly.
These are the things that make life important, that you want to remember about your life and your family and all the people in it. So get Mylio and back them up. I plan on doing that very thing. So Mylio, again, you get it mylio.com. That's where you get the app. It will be in the show notes along with a special coupon code that's going to be a surprise, and you won't know about it until this airs. So Angela, thank you so much. And I know you gave so much advice, and you're going to kill me because I'm going to ask you for one more thing, one more piece of advice you can tell somebody that has anything to do with their photos, their pictures, Mylio, their storage, anything that you have. One more thing that you want them to remember.
Oh goodness, I've covered so much already, and I think backing up is huge. Making sure you know where your stuff is, being able to find it when you need it. Um, I think I'd probably just like to reinforce the concept of backing up because I think that's where the most important thing lies. And whether you're doing that with Mylio Photos or you have another system that you want to use, just make sure you have more than one copy of your stuff because it's important. Those memories are irreplaceable. And I don't want anybody to lose those kinds of things. That's always heartbreaking when it happens, and there are ways to mitigate that. So please, please, please back your stuff up. And that is my final thought.
Great advice. And when that phone falls into the toilet, like mine did one summer, you will have things backed up. So, yay. As careful as you are, sometimes phones fall into the toilet. So that's my last thought for today. Angela, thank you so much for being here. Again, go to Mylio, mylio.com and download it today. Use the coupon code in the show notes. It's a surprise. You won't know what it is until this is released. But thank you for being here, Angela. I'm like all ready to like get going on this.
It's been my pleasure, Celia, and I hope that something I've said today has been helpful to your audience.
Well, it's been helpful to me. I'm like enlightened on Photoland, and I have a lot of photos. So, and I love the fact that you can organize them by label, by whatever label you want. Cause like I have a lot of things I use for like reels or,
Mhm.
social posts and things that I download. And it would just be great. Instead of
Yeah.
spending the amount of time I spend scrolling through my pictures, like, where is that one picture? And I've taken so many pictures and then it's like months back. I'm like, oh my gosh, this was like all the way back here. So
Yep.
thank you so much for being here, Angela. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And to all of you, Angela and I are grateful that you decide to take some time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us, learn a little bit more. If this helped you, please share this out to someone else, a friend, because you know why? We all have a crazy number of photos. So I'm pretty sure you know at least one person that's like, oh my gosh, I have so many photos. I don't even know what to do with them all. So share this out and give us a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It really helps us to share pertinent information to all of you because, on Pumped Up Parenting, we share not just parenting advice, but all advice because we're all human and we all need good advice. So, as always, guys, I'm grateful for you being here. I'm grateful, Angela, for you joining. And I wish you all days filled with peace, love, tons of laughter. You need photos to laugh at because, we look funny in our photos. So save your photos, laugh at each other, have fun, and we'll see you here next time on the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. If this episode was helpful to you, please share it with a friend and leave us a review that will help others. Wonder why kids don't come with a manual? Well, wonder no more because I wrote you one and it's just won a wonderful Mom's Choice Award. Go to celiasbooks.com and buy your copy of Raising Happy Toddlers, as well as my children's books. I appreciate you being part of my mission to help 10 million parents stop yelling at their kids. Please be intentional and hug on those kids of yours. See you at the next episode.